So, since I haven't uploaded a video for quite a long time, I wanted to show you a chess game. It was me with white against Peshkach, who at this point while we played this game was rated 2861. As you see, it was already in September, but whatever. So yeah, let's just jump into it. So I was white. I began with e4, e5, knight 3, knight c6, and earlier I loved to play bishop b5, the Ruy Lopez, but I kind of tried bishop c4 in the last few months because I think the Italian is a very interesting move as well. Yeah, here are two main lines. Knight f6 and bishop c5. He chose to play bishop c5. I went for c3 and knight f6, attacking the pawn on e4. And now the main line is d3, defending the pawn on e4 immediately. But rather than going for d3, I went for this interesting approach d4. Obviously attacking the bishop and the pawn, so he has to do something about it. He has to take here. C takes d4 would lead to the Müller attack. Pretty sharp line, but I think it's pretty equal when you play correctly, so I like to play e5 more. I think it's just a more interesting approach, which can't be that easily out-analyzed, if you know what I mean. Like, it is objectively, of course, equal, but it feels like you have more room for an actual game than just rather learning theory, you know. So yeah, if the knight moves immediately, like knight e4, would have bishop d5. Bishop d5 would attack the knight, and it would also threaten to take this knight and c takes d4 maybe. So that would be pretty unpleasant. So black has to play d5 more or less. Counterattack my bishop. I play bishop b5, knight e4, c takes d4. This is all theory, so no worries. Bishop b6, keeping the pressure on d4, and then I play knight c3, also pretty logical. He castles, I develop. He plays bishop g4, pinning my knight to my queen. I play h3, attacking his bishop. He obviously wants to keep the pin with bishop to h5. So far, this is all just theory. And here by far the main line is queen c2, which might give a slight advantage to white, but I feel like it's still very, very equal. So what I try to play here is this, in my opinion, very interesting move, queen to b3, immediately attacking d5. And it's kind of a sideline, so he also spent some time here, because I guess he didn't know it. Here black has quite a few of options. He chose to play knight takes c3 after some time, which is a very logical move, relieving the pressure on d5. Now, there is a little trick here. If I take with the queen immediately, he has bishop to a5, and he would pin my queen to the king, so that would be bad. But I still knew this variation, and I knew that in this position white has to counter take on c6 first. If he just moves his knight, then there would be this thing, so that's bad. So he has to take my bishop, and now I take with the queen, and I have immediate pressure on the pawn on c6. Now, objectively speaking, this is still equal, but I feel like knight takes c3 is, practically speaking, quite an unpleasant choice for black. Like, if he knows what he's doing, he could still keep the game in a balance, but I think more easy to play, for example, a move like bishop takes f3. Like, it's just much easier to play than knight takes c3, I think. So yeah, we played like this, and if black just defends the pawn, I mean, I can keep attacking if I want, and black will just be very passive, and in the long run black probably can't keep the pawn. So he played the correct move. He played f6 with the idea, if I take on c6, then he could take on f3, takes, and rook takes f3, and he would win my pawn back. So I took on f6, and here he made his mistake. He played rook takes f6. Now, rook takes f6 is a mistake, but of course it's very hard to see why. So I'm gonna just show you the correct variation. The correct variation would have been queen takes f6, also defending the c6 pawn. And now knight to e5. Of course, knight is attacked, so knight e5 is a very logical move, putting pressure on this pawn. And now c5 is the only move to keep the game equal. Now, there is a variation with knight to d7, but this might be even slightly worse for white, even though it seems very good. But I think the more logical move for white is d takes e5, which seems like it's just straight up traps the bishop, but black has a rook to e8, counterattacking the knight. And according to computer, this is an equal position, which, in my opinion, is very hard to find. So computers give this absurd line where white just castles and leaves the knight unattended here, and yeah, it's just a very very weird line in my opinion. It's like queen takes e5 and this and this. White plays f4 according to Kobe. Yeah, I mean, no one's gonna find it. You know what I mean? But objectively speaking, this is equal, and this is what black has to find if he plays knight takes c3. He has to find queen takes f6 and then c5, trapping his own bishop after, and then rook e8. So in case if you wonder, that's what he played. In case you wonder what happens after like this, there is this move attacking the knight, and if the knight takes here, then you have c takes d4, pawn fork, and after this there is check, yet another fork, and if after this there is this, and now white will lose the bishop and the knight is trapped more or less. It can go to g7, but then black would have a very big attack on the white king. So this position is actually lost for white, and that's why knight d7 isn't good. So white would probably lose the bishop and the knight as well, and two pieces are just better than rook, especially if it's the bishop pair, like in this case. So this is what he would have to play. Queen takes f6, he played rook takes f6. Once again, my knight is attacked by the bishop and the rook. So I play knight e5, attacking opponent c6. He defends the opponent c6 with queen to d6. I attack it again with rook c1, very straightforward. He played rook to e8. Now, at first I considered taking this pawn, but after queen to c6, I thought there's bishop at a5 check, and I felt like this could be slightly unpleasant for me. Like, I would have to move my king, and this bishop looked pretty dangerous. I thought there might be queen b4 ideas. I mean, not right now because the rook is hanging, but I mean, in the future, I thought this pawn is pretty weak, so taking it and then losing my right to castle felt pretty weird, because I thought I could just still take this later, so I played castle. I didn't want to lose my right to castle, and he played rook to e6. Now, the funny thing is, this was already played between I don't know, 2,500 and 2,630. I mean, I think it was like Radulov against Matyrossian, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure. I mean, it was Blitz, so. But yeah, black was a grandmaster, and he played like this already. This position is already lost for black, believe it or not. I mean, black isn't down material, but black's pieces are just very badly coordinated. All have to defend this weak pawn on c6, and I believe b4, which is a move where I'm very proud of. Like, Radulov played f4, which is also a move, but according to the computer, my b4 is even better. The idea behind b4 was to play a4 and a5. So in order, like, that would trap his bishop, so he has to play a6, I play a5. He moves his bishop away, and I play queen d3 and attack the pawn on a6. He can't defend it, and I take the pawn on a6, and I make a queen. That was basically my plan with b4. So he played a6. I mean, sooner or later he has to play it, so it doesn't really matter when he does. I played a4, he played bishop e8. I played a5, bishop a7, and here I made a crucial mistake. I played queen d3 immediately, which is a bit too rushed according to computer. Computer says, yeah, this bishop sucks. I mean, d4 is not a weakness, it's very good defended, so this bishop is basically dead. And all of these pieces are stuck defending c6, so they are basically dead as well. So computer says, play queen d2, for example, and then just play f4, g5, f5. I mean, just crush my kingside. That's what computer says. I didn't even consider this, I have to be honest. I was just like, queen d3, that is my only plan with b4, so I'm gonna play it. Pretty bad, because I blundered b4. I mean, I really would love to say that I was like, yeah, I played this, and I calculated this, and I calculated this, and stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? No. I just blundered this. Straight up a blunder. But yeah, I went for my plan. I played this pretty quickly so he wouldn't realize it was a blunder. I was hoping that he thinks it was all planned. It wasn't. So I'm attacking the bishop. He had to play bishop takes d4. And here I got kind of lucky that I still have a very decent plan. After blundering b4 and d4, which is knight to d3, attacking his queen, the queen has to stay and defend the bishop, so queen a4 is forced. I take the bishop, he takes back, and I have knight c5. And that was very lucky that I got this maneuver with knight d3 and knight c5, because that was not planned at all. But now I felt pretty comfortable. I thought, okay, now, this, my plan was like this. What is he gonna do, huh? He can't attack my knight on c5 because he only got this light square bishop, so this knight is here forever. And now what is he gonna do against the a-pawn? And he played rook to e5, which is a very logical move. According to computer, it's a mistake. He says rook e7 is better, which has the idea that after queen d3, there is like this, and c5, and this, and c6. And now the rook can defend the pawn by going rook to a7. However, this is still not a good position for black, obviously. I mean, this knight is just a monster. This pawn is a passer. And maybe Stockfish can hold this as a draw against the human, but objectively speaking, black is still under very much pressure. It's still a very annoying position to play. So he played rook a5, and here I found very nice move queen to d3, which had the reason I first intended to go queen to c8, but I thought rook e2 could be slightly unpleasant. According to computer, this is equal, but now this is a very absurd line which I didn't see. I just thought rook e2 is unpleasant. There's no need for me to play into this. In case you wonder why it's unpleasant, yeah, f2 is hanging. So I'm just gonna quickly show you the line here, which Stockfish says. At first he says it's still a better position for white, but actually this is now equal because I thought that was like h5, no? Yeah, that was h5. Stockfish at first doesn't even see that it's equal, which is pretty amazing. So there's this king to h7, the only drawing move, with the idea after this there's rook f takes f2, and I can't make a queen yet because of rook takes g2, and now even though I got two queens, I couldn't defend against rook h2 mate. And if I play like rook to g1, wanting to defend against rook takes g2, queen to e3, only drawing move. Once again, I cannot play this because of queen f3, which is insane. I mean, the idea is, after this, there's rook h2 checkmate. I'm two queens up, it's checkmate. It's such an absurd line. So yeah, actually, I cannot defend against rook takes g2 again. So, pretty amazing. Obviously, I did not see that. I mean, I'm not a computer, I'm a human. So, I just saw rook e2, oh, could be unpleasant. I don't want to get into this. I didn't see that black can draw with h5 and king h7. That's absurd. But yeah, my feeling told me play queen to d3. So I did it. Now he should have probably traded queens and still went for this rook e7 approach, kind of cagey approach. He didn't. Now I quickly have to check something. Yeah, so you see, at first he says queen to c8 is winning as well, but as we just saw, it's not. So queen d3 is actually the only winning move, which is pretty cool. I mean, I found the only winning move, queen to d3. Pretty cool stuff. He played queen to b2. It would have objectively been better to still trade queens and go for this rook d7 idea, as I just said. But obviously that's not what you want to do. Like, when you put your rook on e5, as a human you don't want to put it on e7. Like, that would just be a loss of a tempo. And yeah, I can understand that you didn't want to do that. So I didn't want to play a6 right away because I still thought that it's rook e2. So I wanted to prevent rook e2 forever. I played rook c2. As you see, evil bar is a little bit plumbing. Evil computer says rook b1 might have been a bit better, but I honestly don't see the difference. Like, what computer says at first that it's queen b4, and computer thinks at first, yeah, my stock for 16 at first thought this is equal now, because he just didn't see queen d2. Now I saw queen d2. Queen d2 has the idea, okay, I'm defending a5, and I'm going out of, not this, this. So rook c2 is still winning. Even though evil boss says, yeah, it's slightly worse than rook b1, it's still a winning move. You know what I'm saying? Rook c2 is still winning. Queen b4 is best according to computer, but he played queen to b8. He had the idea of going like this, and maybe sack here, but I just went queen d4 at first. Still stepping out of this, attacking the rook. So stepping out of this with tempo. He plays rook g5, following his plan. I just play a6. I just play a7. Like, at first glance, it looked scary that he can go like this. Obviously, I can't promote now because there's checkmate. But I saw I can just play f4. Rook is defending g2 now, so there's no checkmate. And now I'm threatening his rook, and I'm threatening the queen. So yeah, this is a pretty simple win now. He played queen a3. Here I could have played rook a1. I didn't see that the queen is covering the square for some reason. I could have played rook a1. That would have been just game over because he's just losing his queen. His queen is like literally trapped, or I'm getting my own queen. So rook a1 would have been cleaner. I played this. I mean, bam, bam, bam. I'm still up a rook, and I can force a queen trade. Computer says this is not so good. I could have played queen e5 and just destroyed him in an attack, but I thought, yeah, better safe than sorry. I'm just going to trade queens. In case you wonder why it's forced, there is a checkmate threat here, and the queen is attacked. And if he plays like check here, then there's rook e2. He has no more checks because still covered, and now he can't defend. He can't defend against checkmate on g7. So yeah, he has to trade queens. Now I'm just up rook for 3 pawns, but this pawn will fall, and so will the other pawns. His pawn structure is just too weak in order to handle my rook. It took me still quite a while because I was pretty stupid in this game. So it took me quite a while to actually win this position. But yeah, I won it, and I'm just going to show you how I won it and lay some music under it. And yeah, see you in the next video.
Trapped behind bars, it's like I'm on Mars, scorching hot. Life can be hard, but it's what we do. Take it to the top. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Increasing my strength when I remember myself.